Hey mate, you alright?
I'm good, mate.
Yeah, good stuff. Third time lucky.
Yeah.
Third time lucky connecting.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a bit of a
thanks very much for doing this.
Holiday,
Obviously, we live opposite ends of the country.
Yeah, definitely.
So just give it a minute, and we should have some more people join in, hopefully.
Cool.
I'm sure they'll catch up.
Yeah, we'll pick up, mate. We'll pick
up.
So,
really, just congratulations on your bare knuckle debut. You may not have won the fight, but by God, what a hell of a fight! I bet you didn't expect that.
Yeah, it was. No, well, that's just me. I just kind of get in there and just go for it. So, completely no inhibitions and no expectations. I just do what I like to do, toe to toe, and go for it.
Way to do it. So I mean, you've been fighting for quite a long time now. You've been around the MMA scene since about 2008, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
you were quite. You sort of fell into it, from what I can gather. Training for just a few months and then taking your first fight.
crazily, yeah. I started basically just doing like Greco-Roman wrestling, just really out of boredom, and then I kind of got convinced by the coaches I had at the time that I had the capacity to kind of get in there and have a fight. So I did. I didn't really give it a second thought. So I didn't really have a hesitation. I didn't feel like I had any fear, and I wanted to test myself really.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you've certainly done that. I mean, you fought on some massive cards. UC MMA, Budo Fighting Championships, Cage Warriors, and Bellator. I mean, what was that kind of experience like, fighting on such big cards?
Oof. Well, I mean, I fought in Romania and places like that, and so I kind of just take it in my stride. I don't really let the occasion affect me. To me, it's about the fight. So I don't put a huge amount of pressure on myself. I just go in there and just try and implement what I feel I can do to win the fight. So I mean, with the big occasion hasn't really bothered me. I mean, when I fought Luke, I mean, I was a big filled out arena and stuff like that. So stuff like that's never really fazed me. I just don't really get the jitters for it. I love it. I try and rise to it.
Fighting machine. Who would you say would be your hardest MMA fight to date, and why would that be?
My hardest one, I would say, was there's a well-known journeyman in MMA called Sean Lomas. The guy's had in excess of about 150 MMA fights. And I'd been out, nearly 20 months. And I decided to make my comeback on a local show called Showtime MMA by Jordan Miller, who's as you may know, was cornering me on the Rogue show. And and they were struggling to find an opponent for me. Just guys weren't stepping up. I got this thing where because I'm very much a gritty fighter, win or lose, if you beat me, you're going to have to beat me. It's going to be tough for you to beat me. So, and then there's always, I could put you away. So I think a lot of guys were reluctant to fight me. So they had to bring him over, and I completely dominated the first round, split his face open with elbows, but he came out the second round like nothing had happened. It was like, oh, this is going to be a long, long night. So 15 minutes of absolute hell. So, but I grinded out the win, took the title, and that was kind of it. So, but I fought credible names like Kevin Fryer and Mike Shipman, who's now been signed to the UFC, and him and Kev have both fought on Bellator. I've stepped up and fought these guys when no one else would. So and I gave respectable showings against them. So it's just what I do. So.
Modest with it as well. From what I've been trying to do a bit of research on you. From what I can gather, you retired and you sort of hung up the gloves in 2016, but came back a year later. Was there any reason that you did that? Were you missing it, or?
I've always missed it. I never enjoy the training. I'm completely backward compared to a lot of people I know. I hate the training. I love the fight. I get more nervous in a ring sparring than I do when I get in there and fight.
Yeah.
It's like my expression. So whenever I kind of try and step away from it and try and, you know, try different chapters in my life and do other things, that itch is always there, and it always digs at me. So I always kind of end up falling back into some sort of combat sport. So
true warrior for you. It's got to be. So, sort of in MMA, I mean, obviously we're trying to hype your rematch with Luke. Did you prefer your stand-up game, or did you just like the fight?
I mean, you know, I used to fight, you know, back in the day, and you know, when I was a teenager and stuff, I had anger problems and that kind of thing. So I've always been able to fight. I've had to, you know, defend myself. You know, I was bullied as a teenager and stuff, so I've always had to defend myself. But stand up wasn't really my strong point. I was kind of known for being a ground and pound, wrestler. You know, following the pioneers. My idols in MMA of Ian Freeman and Matt Hughes. So I was very much into the wrestling, about grinding you, putting you against the cage, taking you down and smashing you with elbows and stuff like that. So that was kind of my thing. So striking's still relatively, well, I wouldn't say unnatural, but it's kind of not my forte, but I hit hard, and I'm quite happy. I have no fear of standing toe to toe and, you know, testing your chin and my chin.
I think we've noticed that. Don't test my chin. I'm not fighting you. I don't want to hurt you, mate.
That's very true.
You're quite well known as well from the bit of research I've done. It's fighting. It's just every single weight between lightweight and middleweight, and you're known for cutting weight. How do you feel about the whole weight cutting thing? And you don't want fighters dehydrate themselves. There's a lot of bad press about it, saying it's dangerous. Where do you stand with that?
Well, it did affect me on a couple of my fights. I mean, my fight with Sean Carter, which was well known for being, it was a bit like me and Sean. It was a bit like me and Luke. With me and Sean, it's very much toe-to-toe, swing for the fences. But you know, less than a week before, I was ill with hypothermia and I was struggling, and I was not going to make the fight. I was told that I shouldn't fight, but me being me, I kind of, you know, got myself relatively better and got myself in there. I wasn't going to let my fans down, wasn't going to let Dave O'Donnell, the promoter, down, and I wasn't going to let Sean down, because I know what it feels like to have pullouts. You know, that's why, you know, I kind of took the fight against Luke, because I know what it's like to train your arse off, and somebody to pull out days before. It's heart-wrenching, you know. I mean, it's really emotionally such a difficult thing to go through camping, such sacrifice, and to come at the end and have no fight is, you know, I wouldn't wish it on anyone. So if, you know,
that's it. I mean,
you know, if there are times where I get in there, I get in there. So with the weight cutting, it's kind of like it did detriment a few of my results because my cardio got zapped. So I'm at my natural weight now. So, but seeing some of the, you know, the effects it's having on people, you've got to tread very carefully. I'd rather go in against a sizable opponent, but a more of a natural, healthier weight, and not get my brain shook, if you know what I mean. So
I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah, you've got to be very, very careful.
I mean, have you been interested in bare knuckle boxing for some time, or was it just a quick decision? How did you get involved?
Well, I've got a mate of mine, Jay Ferguson, the Cobra, and I went to watch a couple of his fights up in Coventry and stuff like that. And, you know, there's just numerous guys I kind of know through the fight game, like Louis Powell and, you know, CJ Mills, who's now stepping in, and, you know, Stan Lee, Wilson, all them boys. So, you know, I got to know, you know, Stephen Miller as well, kind of like through it as well, like, you know. So it's kind of, it's always been in the back of my mind of me wanting to give it a go, but it never kind of came into fruition until kind of, well, Stephen really kind of like, well, sweetened me up really. So, I mean, I always wanted to do it, but it never kind of happened until Luke's fight. So I've always had a bit of a step into it, a bit of a dip, and I always watched it because I find it fascinating. But,
did you think your debut BKB would draw so much attention as it did and be such a good fight? I mean, maybe not a good fight for you the way it ended.
Well, the way it ended, but I was under no inhibitions. I wasn't underestimating anybody. Like I did a little bit of research on Luke, and I have complete respect for him. He's a credible champion, and from what I gathered from people, he's a nice guy, and he's a very respectable professional in the sport. So I had nothing but admiration for him. So I was more than happy to get in there with him. And I heard from his promoters and his management and stuff. He wanted a fight. The way Stephen sold me the fight is he wanted a fight. He didn't feel like his last couple of fights he'd been able to express himself, and he didn't feel like his opponents were really going for it. And that's me.
Yeah,
I want to go for it.
His last two did end very, very quickly.
Yeah, like, you put all that work in, all that sacrifice. You want to have a fight. You want a bit of a bit of grit to it. You know what I mean? So there's certain fighters that are happy for the quick win, to walk away dust free and kind of gloat about it. But then there's real gritty champions, gritty fighters who want to test themselves. It's an expression. Getting in a ring, getting in a cage is an expression of yourself, and you want to be able to, show off your craft. If you know what I mean. So, yeah, I was happy, happy to oblige, and in a crazy kind of way. A lot of people who are supporters and are fans will look at me like you're crazy, but I find expressing violence, in combat sport, I find I'm at peace. I'm my most happiest when I'm in there. Yeah. So, I was duly happy to get in there and give it a throwdown. So
to be fair, you can't knock a bit of good violence. So
yeah, I fractured my hand doing it. So
can you talk me through the fight with Luke? I mean, obviously we all know the outcome, but I mean, it's not like somebody came in and walked over you. It was an absolute war. So I mean, is there anything you would have done differently in hindsight, or
train for it?
Did you not train?
I mean, 2.5 days. I was out in Kew Gardens up in London with my partner, and we were just eating cheese and pickle sandwiches and having Corona beer. Just enjoying the sun. And I got the phone call from Big Miller about do you want to fight? Because we were going to the show anyway, because he'd invited me to come and have a look at everything. So it was kind of like, scratched my head. She took the phone off me and was like, do you want to fight? And she was like, oh no, you're going to fight, aren't you? You're going to fight. I'm like, let's do it. I hadn't sparred properly or heavily in about 18 months. I'd just been kind of grazing with training and just getting on with it. But I thought, let's go. I was excited. I had looked at a couple of his videos that Cyril sent through to me, and I was like, he's game. He's a tough guy. He's a respectable guy. Let's go. That's just my mentality. So
can I knock you for that? So are you training? Obviously the rematch is coming up, August the 4th in Manchester. Tickets from yourself, I'm sure. If anybody doesn't know a Dom, I can point you in the direction. Or you get tickets from yourself, or Amanda Smith, or Anna Foreman. Are you training hard for this fight then?
No, not at all. I didn't learn from the first fight at all. No.
Yeah.
No, I've been training extremely hard. I've been, doing a lot of stuff with the Hands of Stone boxing club down in Bournemouth. Steve Liddell and Hayley Liddell, his wife. I'm training 2-3 times a day at the minute. It's tough. I'm older. I'm coming up to 36. It's definitely tougher. My body doesn't quite work the way it used to, but I'm putting in the hours, and I'm definitely training a lot. Especially in this heat, it's very tough. But I will be more than prepared for this next bout.
Have you got any prediction for this one?
I never make predictions because, as I've been told duly by many people, including yourself in BKB, you can't predict the outcome. You never know what's going to happen. It could be one punch, you can get put away.
That's it. I know.
But I've got more respect for the sport to have a prediction. You know what I mean? I'm going to go in there and fight. Luke's going to definitely come in there and fight, being the champion. I've got to just, implement what I feel I need to do to beat him and beat him. That's the way it's got to be. So I've got to beat him. He's got to beat me. It's going to be the best man on the night. That's just the way the fight game is. There's a winner and there's a loser. It's always the way it's going to be. So
can't say fair on that. So I mean, I would expect it. I mean, it was war the first fight. I would expect Armageddon this time.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, I think we're just those kind of fighters. I think, you know, I mean, you know, I think there'll be a bit more. I think there'll probably be a bit more feeling out this time. I think because both of us be wary because we've felt each other's skill and power. So you know, neither of us were really prepared about what the other had the last fight. So there's probably going to be a little bit of a feeling out process for the first 10 seconds, and then you know it's very much going to be. I think it's going to be a bit more technical this time because I've got a lot more ring craft this time. I'm conditioned now. I've been preparing. I've been sparring. So those kind of you know attributes have come back, whereas I didn't have them in the last fight because I was very much rusty. No disrespect to Luke at all. You know, he put me away fairly and squarely. No excuses. But I will be more prepared this time, and he will duly be more prepared as well because now he knows what he's felt. He knows when I caught him with some shots. He will be just as respectful and be trained just as hard as I know he is because he's the champion.
2 times champion, as he keeps telling me.
Exactly.
If you win, if you take the win over Luke this time, it's got in my mind anyway. It's got the markings of a classic bare knuckle trilogy. One win apiece. Would you go again?
Oh, I think that would be what the fans would want, wouldn't it? I mean, I think it would kind of be fair on, you know, whoever you know loses the belt or loses the title, whether I gain the title or Luke regains the title. You know, if I win the belt, I'd have to be respectful and give him his rematch as he's been respectful to give me this rematch. He could have turned around and gone no. He could have, you know, but he said in the ring, him and Sean were very gracious, very respectful. You know, I have full respect for those guys. They said in the ring, rematch. I was like, wow, I haven't had that kind of respect in MMA, you know, from champions. And, you know, to get that straight away in the ring from Sean and from Luke, I was like, wow. So I've got to show the same kind of respect back, of course. And the fans that want to see it. I don't know if we could both take it, but having a third go, but you know, yeah, it's definitely something to look at.
And I don't like asking this one. If you don't win, will you carry on in bare knuckle boxing, or would that be it for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not one of those guys. I mean, I went 0-4 in my MMA career to start with, just you know, because I was underprepared and I didn't kind of you know have a clue. But I love to fight. You know, I mean, I got brutalized for it as well. Oh, you're shit. You're this. You're that. You're 0-4. And then I think I went like 4 or 5 on the bounce wins. So you know, it's very much for me. It's about testing myself. You know what I mean? And what I'm finding out with BKB is some of the most respectful guys haven't got O's. It's not the way you know, that's not the sport. It's very much, I know guys that are remembered, you know, from getting more and more into BKB. The guys that are known are the guys that go in and fight. You know what I mean?
And that's what the fans want to see, toe to toe, like just like you would look at last time.
Yeah. So it's, you know, I will continue. You know, I'll probably, you know, maybe look to fight on the Road 2 card, September. You know, in memory of, you know, Big Stevens.
So you know, just that will be.
Well, I mean, he got me. I mean, I knew him a lot less time than a lot of people, but he sold the ambition to me. You know, I mean, he was an amazing guy, and you know, he charmed me, and he done nothing but everything for me, if you know what I mean. So you know, if I was going to get back in, it would be on his show, and it would be in memory of him. So because you know, he's part of the reason why I came here.
That'd be fantastic. That's real sort of mark of respect. I think he'd be very proud. I really do.
Yeah. I hope whatever performances I put in down the line, he's looking at me and laughing, going, "See, I told you lot. He had it in him." So
that sounds a bit like him. So, last but not least, have you got any message for Luke?
Not really. Just much respect, pal. You know what I mean? Appreciate the rematch. It's going to be a great fight. I'm preparing. You're preparing. Let's give the fans what we want and have a beer afterwards, regardless of the result. Let's enjoy the night. Let's make it memorable. That's what that's what I believe this sport's about. Let's make it memorable.
Right.
Let's make it something people look back in years to come and go, fuck me, that was a hell of a fight, you know.
What, when I'm still making your rematch when you're 92? Go on, just one more, lads.
Oh. Hey, I've got this, definitely got this thing in my head, this configuration in my head that I will go until something breaks. So
good stuff.
I've got no problem.
Well, we've got quite a few questions coming in for you here. We've got the boss lady first of all, Amanda Smith. What sport do you prefer, Dom?
They've both got different attributes to them that I kind of, you know, love. You know, I love MMA because that is my forte. That is where I come from. But in the short time I've been involved in BKB, and the respect, you know, I've got from, you know, from fighters like, you know, Dan London and Sean George and Luke Atkins, you know, Stanley, all these guys I'm meeting and coming to, you know, interaction with, and like yourself and Russ Norman and, you know, Jeremy Miller. It's like one big community, and I'm loving it and I'm relishing it. So I plan to stick around in BKB for a bit, because MMA, I've kind of, you know, getting to the level I did fighting on Bellator and fighting in Romania and fighting on Budo and, you know, UCMMA, the phone calls kind of stopped coming.
Yeah.
So I was, you know, happy to get the opportunity with BKB, and just, you know, with Rogue, they've taken me on board as, you know, I feel like family. So it's kind of, I kind of want to, you know, chink my armor and kind of go for it within that sport, because, you know, the fans are amazing. All the promoters I've dealt with, Amanda and, you know, Sean, that, you know, Amanda's been amazing.
Yeah.
You know, she's been, you know, whenever I've asked any questions, she's answered. She's, you know, helped me out in any way that I've asked. So I kind of have a, you know, humble alliance to you guys in the minute. So.
Well, it's great. It's great that you're coming on the show. To be honest, I know everybody's really excited for it. Next up, we've got Paul Thompson. What's the best way of getting into bare knuckle?
Not by chance. In my opinion, I think the best way to get into bare knuckle is attend one of the shows, whether it's Rogue or whether it's, you know, UBKB, you know, Amanda Smith's show. Attend a show, really see it live, and then you get a real kind of feel about it. You know, I mean, I used to say it to guys who wanted to get into MMA. You're never going to really know watching YouTube. You have to go to these events, support the shows, support the fighters, go along, you know, introduce yourself, you know, go and watch a show, and then, you know, think about it, and then speak to promoters, speak to other fighters. That, you know, loads of these guys have, you know, have fan pages and stuff. They're easily accessible nowadays. You know, back when I was fighting in like 2008, you couldn't get near anybody. You know, I mean, I was fighting in caravan parks in front of 60 people. You know what I mean? It's, you know, the sports now, the combat sports now, the athletes are easily accessible now via social media and, you know, and stuff like this, where you can interact with them on a personal level. You get a feel about it, you know, but you got to train. You got to be prepared to train. Everybody thinks they can fight until they get hit.
I think gone are the days where the local hard man out the pub can just rock up, and professional athletes now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how big your biceps are. It, you know, it all depends on how tough your chin is. So
that's it. You kind of train your chin. Great comment here from Dean Harrison. Dom, that first round was one of the finest in BKB at the minute.
Oh, Dean, I'm humbled, mate. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. It won't be around. I think we're looking to go a few more than one round next. So look out for more. I'm an exciting fighter, and I'll definitely be looking to be explosive in every fight that I'm involved in. So look out, bro.
One from Anna Foreman. It's not much of a question, though. Why are my comments coming up twice? Oh, yeah, Anna, you can do better than that.
Come on, Anna.
Have we got anybody want to ask Dom a question before we go off? I think they're all questioned out. Well, mate, thank you very much for doing this. It just sort of, for me, I mean, I sent you a message ages ago. I'd never met you. I saw you fight with Luke and with a rematch, and you've been an out-and-out gent, and it's I'm looking forward to meeting you.
Oh, I look forward to it, Stu. Appreciate it, mate. I'm humbled by your respect and your wanting to get me involved in everything and get my name out there a bit. So I really appreciate it.
Anything I can do to help, just shout up.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, mate. It's great fun. It's nice to to get involved.
Definitely.
So I'm looking forward to the next few months. So it's
good stuff. Well, thank you very much. I'll speak soon.
No problem.